And yet we're not yet quite starting. We still have 7 minutes to go. So this is second to last meeting of 2023. And so So anyway, the last text I got from Paula was questioning if we should do, or try to do governing board on the 4th of January, or do it the following week. And I asked her to send out a quorum check to everybody. Because, I, for one, go nowhere, but I'm not a good barometer of these things. If somebody has family, to at least be out of town or otherwise engaged, or not. But she said, okay, and then I'll do nothing further. And Candace is somewhere in Orange County, so I don't think she's even logging in.
So do you text with Paula?
I can't. I mean, do I love it? I mean,
whenever I send you a text, I don't expect, it's more an FYI.
Right.
I can't remember, I sent you a text recently. Oh, about Richard Park.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like he single-mindedly, not necessarily single-handedly, but single-mindedly was focused on getting oil out of his own neighborhood. That's where he lives. And he succeeded. Do you know what we're talking about?
No.
The Lanet, so the nonprofit that does parks, a lot of parks, including in our neighborhood, Richardson Family Park and Estrella Park. Anyway, they closed escrow last week in the former oil field at Budlong and Jefferson.
Oh.
To make it a combination housing park. And the person credited with being a real cause of it, was Richard Park, who
Richard Park, who comes to the planning and land use and our oil and drilling
a
committee.
30-year member of West Ounce Heritage.
Yeah,
his kids go to what's this school? Prescott.
Yeah.
No, I mean they're really engaged. He's on the board of WANA.
Mm-hmm. But I will say that when we had a meeting to submit an opinion on the oil place over here, because they get reviewed every few years, and we were trying to negotiate some ideas and some things and make recommendations for things. That a lot of things happen during that planning and land use meeting. People, because our meetings are such that if you come, you get you part of the community, you get to vote. But there were people who came who are not part of the community who also voted, and John was very upset because someone made a motion and a meeting, it ended up with another motion. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that Richard was part of the people who led that, but also that after that, John became very adamant that we follow our bylaws on who a community member is. But
it turns out
LA Times, a big phone call on the work that he's doing. So it's like, yeah, well, he's part of our community. So.
And not only that, by our rules, he's a stakeholder because he's the parent of a child who attends a school within our footprint. So he just never said that.
Yeah.
He said, Richard.
Are you feeling better?
I am feeling better. I went to bed like right after I texted you. I don't know.
Stressful.
We're already recording.
But yes, but just tested and nothing.
And Laura's been exposed, so she's wearing.
I've tested too, and I'm testing negative.
Just to be safe, I'm masked.
Thank you.
And my first test was in a doctor's office because coincidentally I was to be in a doctor's office. So it's professionally administered, not just me trying to think my own nose. So, okay.
In a couple of minutes, I
Yeah,
think Ed is going to come today, so we'll just.
All right.
Also, Laura, I was able to go in and on information, I've got the date and time stamp.
Okay,
So, which is completely consistent with the others
of course.
certificate. So, you know, they should be able to, if they know the date and the time, they should be able to find it.
We'll wait.
We'll wait till we're on the agenda.
Yeah, we're recording now, so I don't want to. And we're not sure if Paula's coming tonight?
Yeah, just, I mean, we're not gonna,
Because we have quorum, so we.
well, we have quorum, we have, Sarah has to be gone, and I
Yeah.
really kind of need to be done. I was subjecting. Scooch my chair.
So do you have a Christmas celebration at your church?
No,
No, okay.
no, actually, so many people are transplants that they just all travel. A lot of them do.
And
Our families
do you
that we
have a
know that have people
I
coming.
mean, you have a physical church?
No, not yet.
That's
no.
what I was gonna say. it's
Yeah,
under
we did.
construction.
We did in Venice years ago.
Okay.
But, no,
What's the status of? Oh, 7:00.
yeah, no worries.
No worries.
Okay.
Okay, you can tell us any
Red tape
public
is the
comment.
status.
Maybe you could become an expert on dealing with building and safety and.
I'm
Okay.
not involved.
I am going to call this meeting to order. Thus far, we have nobody signed in.
Okay,
From-
I'll try to keep it up now. I love it.
Okay. And so I'm calling the meeting to order of the UNNC Executive Committee, and I'm going to, just because I didn't bring any,
Paper, just, yeah, we'll
Paper.
just share the agenda.
we'll just share the agenda on the screen. And here we go. So we have a brief agenda compared to usual. Looks big, but it's brief, which will include approving the minutes, after general public comments, approving the minutes. A vice president's report is really a discussion, the situation with Chris. Treasurer's report is probably non-existent, and the president's report might be non-existent, don't know. We have an administrative funding request from the outreach committee. We can, if we wish, have a discussion on SB 411. We can, if we wish, have a possible bylaws amendments discussion, agenda items for the next governing board meeting, and I would sort of amend that to say we'll have a brief discussion about the date
Okay.
as well. And I think we won't have committee reports, and we probably don't have old business, and then we will adjourn.
So I just had public comments to remind everybody that this.
So we have a roll call
Oh.
for the record. Teresa,
I'm here.
Sarah,
Here.
Laura is here, and at this moment in time, Candace is not present, and Paula is not present. I'm going to stop the share. General public comments.
The Friday, the 22nd, Bitty Potter Park is having a snow day presented by CD10. And the West Adams Avenues are having a food truck and or hot dogs and hamburgers. And I think there's a movie, but I don't know the movie, but it's a big snow day. That's what Donna mentioned, that there might be a movie. No. But
This
snow
doesn't
day.
make sense. It's gonna be snow and games and
Okay,
sleds, I think.
Okay,
I don't
then-
really know.
I don't either. But UNNC will have a table. I will say that as long as it's not raining, if it's raining, I'm not going to do it. Just,
Right.
and Dolores is out of town and I don't think would be very.
Right, and I had said that I would do it if I don't have COVID, although I have now been invited to a party, but I can probably do both.
Okay.
I can't do 4 hours.
Yeah, no, we just.
Um,
Okay, so that's that. So
Any other general public comments on any topic whatsoever?
Someone, I forget who put the call out for, CD10 wants some help putting bicycles together on the
Yes.
22nd. And
Same day.
my son has volunteered after he's off work. I think they start at 3 till whenever, they got all the bikes together. But if anyone knows of other people who are competent with basic, bike assembly, it sounds like they still need other hands and help.
Where's that gonna be at?
Let me see if I can pull it up. I was just trying to do that.
Okay, I've just lost all of our documents. Would it be,
Just go to documents. The main thing, just go to documents on the right, and then go to executive committee, and then,
oop, not that one, nope,
yes.
okay.
Okay, not up there. Let's see, it's probably-
Okay. Next item on the agenda would be secretary's report, the minutes. And I am going to share that screen.
Sorry.
And Sarah, this is for you.
Yep. Okay, we had a meeting about 3 weeks ago. We had the usual welcome, roll call, general comments. Most of these events have already happened except for the snow evening, which is coming up Friday. Oh, and the homeless count next month.
Right.
Good thing to remember.
Right, so I went on the website, I think 75 was the right number, now it says 100, but I think the minutes were correct. It used to say 75.
Oh, okay.
They count willyou.org,
Okay, sure,
but I think this is accurate for the
Okay.
meeting.
Okay.
All right, then we had executive business last month, so we had the minutes approved. Treasurer's report, which included the UNNC administrative packet. Vice President's report, the President's report, some funding requests. We had candidate interviews for positions that were
Oops, it was already wrong.
needing to be filled.
Let's correct this to Betty Anderson.
Okay,
And what about that Larchmont Charter School, though?
that was the one we looked at, but we didn't do anything.
Okay,
My
so-
error, because I
Yeah, I know, I
thought they
just,
were,
you just have it there.
I just have it there as a placeholder because it
didn't
was a
happen.
point in the outline.
Yeah. Okay,
Betty Anderson, thank you.
okay, so in two places it will change it to
All right.
Anderson, if you don't mind.
so I make a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
That was 11:30.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
We get approval acclamation?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Oh, yes.
So really, right now, the whole meeting's here, so I'm not even looking at,
Okay, I'll look if Paula has.
well, I'm looking at the screen, I'm just.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just keep referring back to the agenda, so sorry. So the next item would be treasurer's report, we're tabling it,
Yes.
vice president's report, so we're dealing with the situation with Chris.
Okay, can we get an update, Laura?
Yeah, so today, Chris and I and Paula, and then several people at Dunn, received an email from Alfonso that basically said that we've looked into it, we see you logged in, we don't see anything else. The status is that it's in process and that we can't say you completed it. So that's where we are. And Chris has a copy here.
Right. And Alfonso saw the screenshot, Dawn has acknowledged the
well,
screenshot.
She has now sent him this screenshot, and I sent him the ones that I had already sent them in October.
This shows the date and time stamp from my personal computer.
Yeah, the one you sent to him did not have the date and
Date
time
time stamp,
stamp.
because I had to
Just
figure out
had
how to
this.
pull it up.
Right.
It was
So
there,
it
but
just
I
said
just.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But
without a
it's,
stamp.
and,
right. And this was sent to him this afternoon?
Correct.
Okay.
but it was also, had been sent to Dunn previously.
Right.
And
they have, and what they're saying is they do not have it registered.
What
and-
they're saying essentially, as far as I can tell, is that their own technology does not permit them to see how far she got. And I wrote back and said, it just seems ridiculous to do a do-over. Isn't there a way to jump into where she was so she can basically turn the page and get to the certificate? But we did not get
And
responses
when you log
to
in
that.
now, Chris, to look at your account, are you able to access where you were in that process?
No, because the only way I ever got in is with the ID and the password that they sent all of us. I could never get in. And so I came back from the mountains and I called Dunn and I said, look, I cannot get in, this isn't working. And they go, oh no, try again, which I did multiple times. Then I left a message from Mario that I could not, after, had to wait.
Mario being their
I
training.
know who he is.
And then Mario
I worked with him, remember? to
Yeah,
get
no,
something
I
on
understand,
board.
but Sarah.
Mario called me.
Wait.
Sarah
Sarah
may not-
doesn't know.
No, it's all right.
Mario's had a training done. So with Mario on the phone and him doing his own machinations, he also realized that the ID and the password Dunn gave me was not making it work. He was able to, oh, that didn't work, and I'll do this, that didn't work. And finally, he was able to get me in. And I said, Mario, I'm gonna go do all my training consecutively, so I don't, which I did. And in each one, I was able to, congratulations, you complete, and then you click and the certificate comes up. But I was taking photos, screenshots the whole way because everyone had problems years before getting it recorded. And so on the last training, which was the funding, it said, congratulations, you've completed 16, all right. And
Completed your test.
completed your training is the
Well,
words it
The
says.
16 all right was you finished the test, you completed it.
Congratulations, you've successfully completed the Neighborhood
Right.
Council Funding Training Certificate Quiz. And it says, please close this window and return to Cornerstone and obtain your certificate. When I did that, it didn't bring up the third certificate, it kicked me out again. But since I had a record, I did not see that was a problem. And then later, Laura said, well, can you go back in? And once again, multiple tries, it won't let me in and the way I don't know how Mario got me in because he was doing it on his computer and I was on the phone and we were sharing a screen and it got open and I was good to go. So if Mario wants to do his magic and I'm on the phone and he can get me that last page, I'll be happy to print my certificate.
Okay, there's a lot of ifs in all of
Yeah.
that. And one of them is, so I just put up on the screen, that's the other screenshot. And what it shows is it's in progress, status in progress.
So for all we know, the in progress could just be waiting for you to click it
Right.
and then register you.
If the system would allow that. So I asked that question. Can it in effect resume where she was? But I don't have an
Well, I think the real
answer.
question is, can she log back on
Right,
and see where she is
That's
on
what I
her
mean.
account?
resume where,
Well, forget about resuming. You haven't even been able to get back on your account, your Cornerstone account. Is that
The
correct?
only way I got on was with Mario's help, and I don't know what his machinations were, because he kept trying
And so the
different things.
password and your login now, you haven't tried on your own to?
I tried once and I did not get back in.
you were on a Mac. They have problems with Mac, and you were on a Mac because it shows
That's
one
what
of
I
these. Right. Have you been able to try, does anyone in your family have something not a Mac that you could try from a different computer to see if that would work? But they have had trouble with the
Interface or whatever. it is.
interface
Right.
between
I didn't know
Macs
there
and-
was a Mac problem.
Yeah.
I can try to go on Jordan's. He's got an Android PC, and I can try.
Android or,
He has a PC, he has
He's
a
a PC,
but
and all
not
of
like a tablet
No,
or something.
no,
an actual PC, probably
But he has a
more like
laptop.
Chrome or similar. You can browse in Chrome.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know I use Explorer, but whatever.
no,
The
but
point
let's-
is, yeah, okay, so
Why
what,
don't you try that?
But on my Apple laptop, I can browse in Chrome, and I did.
No,
Just
but,
saying.
no, I'm telling you, I already know
Okay.
they have a problem with Apple.
Okay.
So, I'm just saying, let's us make sure we do
That's
everything.
frustrating.
It's very frustrating, but it'd be so much better to say, and I even tried it in a PC Chrome
Okay.
and it doesn't work. I mean, that would be the best.
okay, yeah, I guess what I would like to say is that, yes, if, we're gonna try one more thing, And that would be for you to try logging in on a PC. But ultimately, Chris, if they're saying that they are not acknowledging,
They can't see in the IT kind of system anything. They're
Right.
just saying the status is in progress,
Right.
not a status
and that's all they
complete.
have,
And that's all they
what
have.
they use to
But
make
they
a
do
determination.
have a screenshot of their own
Sure.
cornerstone screen telling
I
them.
guess, what
and-
I'd also like to know, Chris, what is your resistance, besides the login situation and having that, what is your resistance to just taking the funding over? Repeating your funding training?
Couple of things. One, there have been multiple attempts that involved multiple hours of trying to get into the system to take it, and then driving 6 miles back or 6 hours back from the mountains to come and try to get help. And it's like, exactly how much water does someone have to carry for the city of Los Angeles when they openly admit over and over again that, oh yeah, we have lots of problems with that system.
Well,
And yet when you give them photo proof of their own system, that it's saying that you have completed your training, that they can't, I don't care that they somehow can't get back to this photo. I took a picture. I know when Paula had trouble, Greg sent a picture and it was accepted. And I'm at a point now that I'm as trained as everybody at the table. And for 4 months, and again, Alfonso only got back to us today, probably because you reached out. There's been,
Well, Laura
right,
should have been reaching out.
But she
and
did.
Paula was the most recent outreacher, and Paula wrote Vanessa.
Again?
Oh, no, but.
Okay, because that was a while ago.
Okay.
But let me just say this, Chris, just so we're all on the same page with the facts. Your training was due in June. You didn't get to it until September. And let me finish.
for months of trying.
Okay, that's fine. But when it became brought to us and acknowledged to Laura, then that's when we became aware. So those couple of months, we can't be held responsible because there were some issues with that. And the fact that when you say that you had to come down from the mountain and do a 6-hour drive, that has nothing to do with us because.
But it has to do with the lack of accessibility with this system, because the only reason I didn't get it in June is because the password and the ID that Dunn sent me wouldn't get me past those first two Hello Neighborhood Council Welcome City LA pages. Anytime I tried to get into the training portal, it would throw me back to the curb.
Okay, so part of that has to do with that maybe we need to have stronger leadership on the board when it comes to training. So when our board members have a problem, that Laura or whoever's in charge of it can reach out directly and get assistance for our board members or have them deal directly with Dunn, whatever. So that would be a way. I'm also trying to look at ways we can prevent this from happening in the future. So then the second part is that you finally did it, and after having to go directly to Mario, who hands out the passwords, and you did the training, they don't have it registered, and what you're asking us to do is to allow you to override them and allow you to vote. And also what I heard you say was that Greg did that for Paula. Is that true, Laura?
I don't,
Greg sent a photo, because she also had a photo that she
you're saying
completed.
when,
Way back, Paula was
2
having,
years ago.
yeah, Paula was having trouble
Because I
with the
don't
system
recall
showing
this.
that she'd completed, and she goes, I have a photo, and somehow that was, it got, but my issue
Okay,
is,
but I need to understand that.
No,
Did we-
I don't recall that,
is
I mean, in
Paula up
other words, Paula had trouble this year, but Greg was already off the board, because her training was
Did
July.
she take her training?
Yes.
And she went through the process, she has a certificate?
Yes,
Okay, that's
yes,
fine.
but she may have had trouble 2 years ago as well. Ed had trouble as well.
Yes,
You use a Mac or a PC?
I am Mac.
Yeah, well, I remember
If she has a Mac too, that
Yeah,
comes to these
the
problems.
previous board member whose first name was also Hunter, not Hunter Reese, but a prior Hunter, also got booted out, had a similar picture,
Okay.
and it was just the code of conduct, and got booted out, and they said it's because you have an Apple, you shouldn't take it on an Apple tablet, it's like
Okay.
good to know in advance.
Well, I think, but I use my Apple, but I use Chrome.
I used to, same here.
Okay,
Chrome,
so I
same.
use Chrome. And so I assumed that would be.
And then how did you correct your problem, Ed?
Oh, it was pretty, it wasn't as bad as Chris's, but I kept harassing people and somebody got back to me and walked me through it. They changed my password or reissued me a password that they had previously sent me that wouldn't go through. I guess they corrected it. It was the same password, but it finally worked. And then I was able to take the training.
Yeah, actually, something almost happened to me like that, but not because of Matt, but they were trying to give me a password on a different email, my different email, and that wasn't working. Anyway,
Okay, so what you're asking us, Chris, is to go to the governing board and allow your screenshot for us to accept it as having completed the training and allow you to vote.
I'm asking that as a board, we recognize Cornerstone's screenshot that says, congratulations, you've completed your funding training. And I don't think the rules say I have to have a certificate. I think it says you must complete your training. And I believe I have sufficient documentation that I have met that requirement.
Right.
And I think we should send that on to
Which
Back to
Laura has
Doug.
done.
And we should send it on to the clerk to say, we have documented evidence that Cornerstone this person has completed their funding training. Dunn is having trouble with their system being able to record that. But here is the record of her completion. And we can attach it to every BAC. But unless Mario is willing to get on the phone with me and do his magic again to get me in, I'm not willing to
Well,
spend hours
but
just getting kicked to the
well,
curb
here's
with
the
their computer
thing,
again.
getting back in, but requiring to do a do-over is also the thing. You don't want to do a do-over, you want to.
I don't see why I should if I'm as trained as everybody at this table.
You want to resume and get your certificate.
Yeah, if that's what the city
So
would
that-
like,
Hey,
they need to make it possible.
yes, sir.
I just got a question. Has the city acknowledged that there are serious issues
Yes.
with
Yes.
this system?
Over and
So,
over again.
okay, if they have already acknowledged that to be a fact, it seems like what Chris is requesting
Right.
is reasonable.
So
You know, that's.
okay, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm raising my own hand,
Yeah.
calling on me. So it's a very reasonable request. Here's my, however, equally reasonable response. We have bylaws. I think we can certainly say our bylaws say you have to be trained within 60 days of the due date or you're joining, or else you can't vote on anything. I'm real comfortable that we see that she did do the training, that we could allow her to vote in general, that she has completed all her trainings. I'm really personally very uncomfortable with just us issuing an edict that she's clearly able to vote on funding, then she does vote on funding, we have BACs for funding, and then the clerk says, nope, you'll have to redo that vote because she wasn't eligible to vote. And that creates so much work for everybody else and/or might cause us issues, red flags on our MERs, et cetera. So that's the thing that concerns me.
I understand your concerns, but what I'm saying is, if this is an issue with their system, sometime it's got to come to a head.
It does.
So I'm saying, so if they come back at you with that attitude, then it will be resolved. But right now, it's just going around in circles.
Right, but we also have 2 days.
Hold on, I'd like to hear, Sarah, do you have some thoughts on this?
I don't, because I'm kind of feeling like everybody has really good points, so I don't.
Well,
I know that we have limited time, so
Yes.
I'd like to make a
Yeah, it just
motion.
needs to be resolved.
I'd like to make a motion that we take it to the governing board to allow Chris Carlson to vote on non-funding items, to have full voting privileges on non-funding items, and until it's resolved, however we want to resolve that she cannot vote on funding items, because I don't want to jeopardize that either. And I know the difficulty that we have with Anna following
And
the
Melba,
rules,
her
and if she
boss.
comes back, there may be items that do not get approved which means now we're gonna have to come back or have a special meeting to have them approved. And if we do something in May, and then it has to be done by June because our fiscal year ends on the 30th.
Is your motion still going?
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay, no.
I know, yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah,
Let's
so
try
I'm
the
sorry.
motion again.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of a motion here.
There's a motion.
Yes, I'm making the motion that we allow Chris Carlson to have voting privileges for all non-funding items.
Right. And can we amend, and we will work diligently, we officers will work diligently to resolve this problem with the clerk and with Don. Because if the clerk said, that would be the end of the motion.
Okay,
I would second that motion.
okay, I thank you.
And then my reasoning is that if the clerk says it's okay with them based on all of this, we don't care what Doug says.
Correct.
Because it's the clerk I am concerned about. They don't operate the system at all. This is
And what
not
they
their
look at is
system.
the roster
And
and
They look online at the roster though.
Yeah,
And right now you're showing us,
Right, but
Yeah.
we can
So-
give them other information to look at.
and we can try, we can work our
Right.
diligently.
and we can also go and speak at Bonk. I mean,
Yes.
we have options
We
here
have options.
as a board to go and.
Well, we have the option as a board to write a letter to Bonk and then go and speak and read it out loud because they're very
Okay.
open to
Do
things
we
like that.
need to
can
make a
do
motion for that, Laura?
at the board level, well, yes,
Okay,
because we
I'd
would
like-
need to do
Can you make
a,
that motion? I'll
Well,
second
wait,
it.
there's already a motion on the floor.
no,
Oh,
we
okay.
can amend the motion.
Okay, let's do my motion
Okay.
that you amended. Okay, can we call the vote on that, Sarah?
Yeah, if we, okay.
I'd like there to be some discussion on that.
I was gonna say, we
okay.
never even had a second.
Yeah.
Oh, Laura
I
seconded,
second.
Laura seconded.
Second,
Okay, so
then
now
you
it's
second.
discussion.
Unfortunately, what this motion is proposing is exactly the status quo that we currently already have.
No.
No, you did not vote.
Right now, you can't vote on
You
anything.
can't vote. You have not been able to vote
On anything.
On anything,
Okay.
Chris.
So this is
Well-
changing that.
If we cannot resolve this by our next full governing board meeting, and I'm willing to even go down physically to Dunn, but if we cannot, then I will only be at that meeting to tender my resignation.
Okay,
Because
that's
it's just-
fine, Chris.
This
But
is
you
not
also said
functional enough
that
for
you
me.
were going to try to take the training on a PC. So that's the other thing that we
I'll do all
have,
those things.
or at least see.
But I'm
you
just
can
letting you
resume.
know, if we cannot resolve it, if we do all these extra things and we cannot get done to acknowledge, we can't get onto a PC, they can't give me a password that
Well,
will
and
let
the,
me
and
in,
the clerk doesn't
and the
agree.
clerk, then all, it's fine and dandy, but I don't think it's
Okay, Chris,
appropriate that I'm as trained as everyone else at the table, that I cannot vote, and I shouldn't be giving my time and representing a community where I have no real vote for them, so I would have to resign, because
okay,
that is
can I just say on a
yes.
practical basis, if we actually have our meeting on January 4th, this will not have been resolved
Then
by
that's the
then.
way the cookie will crumble.
Okay, well,
Okay,
it is
well-
what it is, because I know the difficulty working with the clerk.
Oh, it's impossible.
And I have seen her
I do too.
reject BACs and we have to reissue it.
Oh, yeah.
So but if we're able to put, I mean, I don't know how we test that. Do we ask her beforehand, Laura, or do we just
I
have
would
Chris
need
vote
to,
and then,
no, I think I want to let her know what's going on
Okay.
tomorrow.
okay.
Because we're on a short time frame if Chris is really seriously.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Okay, so we're still in
Nothing else.
discussion. Ed, do you have a comment?
I just think it needs to come to an end. And it's like you're dealing with the bureaucracy that unless they're put into a corner, they're not going to respond. And so I'm saying.
But we can't put them in a corner until after the board meeting.
Well, what I'm saying is that with Chris's situation, with the evidence that she has, that I think that would put them in a corner, and to acknowledge and possibly correct.
Well, they
The
did
problem.
acknowledge it. They responded.
Well,
They did
but
have
they-
today.
but they
They
haven't-
sent you an email.
No,
Have they corrected it?
No.
No.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. The problem is, okay, this is Chris we're dealing with now. And then I was dealing with it. Other people coming on. The system needs to be
Yes.
corrected. And if nobody is putting it, if it hasn't come to the point that they understand that the system needs to be corrected.
Thank
And
you.
if they don't correct the system, we're gonna have more Chris's in all throughout the city because they're
we already do.
frustrated with dealing with the system.
You're not wrong. The problem is she's just given us a deadline that we cannot meet.
We don't know that.
No, we do know that, Chris, because we won't even have been
I'm
able to
just saying.
act on it at the board. This motion won't have been acted on. We won't have been able to do a,
But
community impact.
Alfonso just got the latest thing
Chris,
after.
that may be true, and this is still you as an individual, me as an individual, and Paula as an individual dealing with them. This is not the board. The board would need an opportunity to vote. They could change this motion to something else, but it still won't be resolved on January 4 or January 11, whichever day it is, unless Dunn agrees to resolve it on their own, because first we have to vote as a board as to what our position is, and have a letter, and have a community impact statement, and send it to Bonk and probably the council office, all those things. So you're saying if we don't fix this by the time of the board meeting,
No,
you're
I said if
resigning.
it does not get fixed. I didn't say if we.
It won't have been,
Wait,
it won't
Laura,
have been
there's several
fixed.
pathways you're overlooking. One, if I go home and get on a PC and it works,
Well, then we
then
don't
I
need
can
this.
report back. So
Yes.
then it would be resolved. And that
Exactly.
doesn't mean we have to do anything. It means the system works on PCs and Dunn needs to make sure they tell people in advance.
And that's when we would need to do a letter, and I'm gonna
Yes.
go back to, I go down to city council and speak on shit all the time,
Yeah.
speak on stuff all the time. So I had no problem
Right.
going and speaking in front of Bonk and saying, here's the problem. This is what's happening to
And
us.
it's not
You
just
have to
Chris,
invest more
it's
money.
2 other board members that
Yes,
we've lost.
and
Now that,
And that's important for us to do that and speak
Yeah.
in person to them and
Yes.
with, you know.
and now
But
that
but
we've
you're
just,
putting
Laura,
us in a
excuse me,
corner
just a
by
minute.
the date. I mean, if you said,
I
I'll
said,
go through
Okay,
one more
Laura,
board
she,
meeting.
this is what
There
she
are
said.
multiple ways it could get resolved. The other one is now that Alfonso got back to us, even though we spoke to him directly that night, and I didn't hear anything back, and I had to contact Teresa, have you heard? Because
No, but
not,
No, you probably saw
So-
the agenda item.
but now that
And
we've
Laura and
heard
Paula.
back, I can call Alfonso and Mario tomorrow during working hours and take the subject up further, and it might be resolvable.
Okay.
Like there's multiple ways it could get the magic solution, in which case we will share that solution,
Okay.
be it
Right.
PC or whatever, but it may not get resolved. But
And
I
if
will
it doesn't, then
care
that's what
for
we will have to deal with the consequences of that.
Yep.
And I just,
Yeah.
it is what it is. I personally, I think you've done a great job, Chris. I don't like ultimatums, you do this or this is gonna happen.
Not an ultimatum.
But I understand,
Well, it is.
Well, are you,
But hold
would you
on.
guys all serve if you couldn't vote?
On funding items, and we might not even have a funding item?
No, I'm saying on anything. Would
but
you?
what the motion just said, that we are going to move forward, asking the board to allow you to vote on everything but funding items. So, but I had the motion, so,
Okay.
no, hold on, but we have a lot to do, so.
We do, and we have to leave by
Can we-
8.
Did you get a second?
Yes, I seconded
Yes, she
it.
seconded, so can we?
Am I voting on that?
No, this is just executive, okay.
Yeah, so the thing is, you know, I wish you would stick it out through till the February board meeting, only because if we have to have a board vote on it and do a community impact statement and write a letter and do all that, we can't have done that before the end
I
of the
will
meeting that you're gonna resign.
I will do everything I can
And us,
to resolve it with Dunn. I will even reach out.
and
if
I
Dunn-
will also reach out to the clerk, because if the clerk
Okay,
says.
we had just said that, Laura, so can we please take the vote? So
Yes.
can you call
So
the
let's
vote?
take the vote.
Okay, well, there's no, I mean,
Well,
Yeah.
it's 3 of us.
yeah, so,
It's all-
in favor of what Teresa moved,
Yes.
I guess if that's our option for now,
Yes.
Yes.
and I'm hoping it gets fixed before January 4th.
Right, or January 11th, or whenever we're actually meeting, which we don't know yet.
Okay, so can we?
Okay, moving on. And Chris, we're not trying to, you know, be it all mean to you, we're
It's
just,
actually a bigger issue and Ed
it
sees
is a
the-
bigger issue.
Ed sees the issue
It is a
clearly.
bigger issue.
I
The
We
think-
problem-
all
yeah.
see.
And the problem is taking it to Anna and having Anna knock things down, they're not gonna care. They're
Well, they
happy
sh-
to have us re-vote on things. They're happy, I mean, it
If they're
doesn't
just
matter.
happy to say no to us
Give us
spending
more
our
work
money
to do,
because
yeah.
the
Well,
money-
maybe that's the kind of fights we need to
Okay.
have.
Yeah.
But I would like the record to show that the only reason I even have this photo evidence, because the word on the street was, the system doesn't work, make sure you take
Chris, we
pictures,
see
okay?
it, you
Yeah.
took it.
No, but
We
it's for the
know
record
this.
for the city to understand
Yeah.
how dysfunctional
And it-
their function is. Okay, y'all have a
maybe
lovely
we should have
evening.
an ad hoc
and,
committee that
um,
deals with these
appreciate the
issues and
time.
works with us.
Right.
All right, thank you very much, Chris.
And I'll report back on those two options that at least are under my control.
Laura's
And I
gonna-
will reach
Oh,
out to
Chris, I just
Anna
want to
in the
ask
morning.
you, C Swede at iCloud.
CC Suite.
That, remember I handed my phone to Alfonso to send it? He actually went into a different mailbox.
Okay.
That's not, so on my correction, when I responded, I put C Carlson at carlsonpoll.com.
Oh, okay.
Because
Okay.
even I was like, I never gave the city that. But then I realized
okay.
when he went, I wanted it to go, I wanted him to know that he sent it to himself and have responsibility. I didn't realize he opened a different mail.
Okay.
That's how that happened.
Okay.
Okay, all the
Okay.
best, guys.
Okay, good night.
All right, okay, let's,
Next is the funding and let's.
yes, you're gonna present or Ed's
No,
gonna
Ed's gonna
present.
present.
And what do I need to pull up?
I put all
I
those
know,
documents.
there's, right, what do
Yeah. Well,
where
first
do I
just pull up-
start?
Just pull up the Excel sheet if you want.
Okay. And then I
What does
did
that sound?
that,
Oh,
okay,
we hear that over here, Gavin.
he can't hear you though.
Yeah, I know. He turned it
Okay,
on. Oh, we're hearing
all right,
it. Okay. There you go. Yeah.
What am I making a motion or?
No,
am I-
you
well,
just gotta
you're
explain-
explaining what we're looking at.
Committee information.
Give me your- I got it.
Oh, oh.
Oh, you want to?
Can you make it larger?
I just need to move seats.
Okay.
No, well, yeah, there's
No,
a
no,
reason
no.
why everybody's treating me like a toxic Mary, because I've been exposed.
Oh, can you see?
Can you see it from there?
Yeah, I can see it
Okay.
from here, that's
Fine,
fine.
fine, fine.
I just can't see.
Yeah, just
the
don't
doors.
sit here.
No, I'm good. Okay.
So the outreach
Wait,
committee,
all three of you already know what I'm looking at, is that correct?
these are the updated numbers, yes.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, we were all.
So the outreach committee is proposing to make the following expenditures for a canopy, flag, trifold brochure, T-shirts, and
Okay, hold that thought a second. You know what I didn't do? I didn't share the screen, it's not being recorded. Let me pull that back up. Now,
so this is what I'm saying.
Oh, the rings.
There you okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, the outreach committee is requesting funding for canopy, 10 by 10 with frame, flag, 12 feet high, trifold brochures, 1,000, T-shirts, grocery tote bags for $2,805. However, we are requesting a miscellaneous possibilities of up to $3,500.
And the t-shirts on there are polo shirts, just for clarification.
Yes.
So for clarification, because I actually looked up the grocery tote bags on the Ford imprint, and you are aware they're plastic.
Yeah, they're not canvas.
they're not.
Right, and so you are aware that we had voted, the last time we addressed this and then nothing happened, was that we voted not to do plastic.
Okay, but they're not
There's a
plastic.
They are,
Poly-
they're,
they
they're,
are-
they're
they're
nylon.
No, no, they're I looked it up on their
They're
website
nylon,
and they're
essentially.
not
Nylon.
they're not
They're not
recyclable.
Okay,
They're
well, I
reusable but
don't,
not recyclable.
okay,
Right.
well, that's what we.
I didn't know
put
we voted it down anywhere.
Well,
So-
this was
Okay.
under Lizzie's watch,
Okay,
like 2
but-
years
okay,
ago. I'm
we
just-
put this forth, it's this,
Yeah.
Ed just made the
The
motion.
new board,
Yeah.
see what
Right.
happens.
Oh,
Okay.
Right,
Right.
and-
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you, can we have the vote? Oh,
Yeah,
no,
Oh, we didn't
discussion.
have a, I'm sorry, we actually, yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't actually have a motion though.
He can't make a motion.
I know, so,
I'll make the motion to support outreach request for.
and forward the recommendation to the governing board.
Yes,
Right.
right.
And all I'm asking is if it is a, I mean, in other words, if we're handing out stuff that says, among other things, reduce your use of plastic.
Yes.
So is there any other option? I mean, because we don't have to approve, at the board level, we're not approving the vendor, we're approving
Yeah.
the expenditure, so.
I
I'm
think,
just hoping-
if I remember correctly, when Dolores looked into canvas bags, they're just
They're really expensive.
cost prohibitive right now.
Yeah,
I
there
prefer
any other
canvas
material?
too.
Is there any other material besides canvas and plastic?
there is
Bamboo?
there is cotton. It was, 2 years ago, it was prohibitively expensive, I agree.
Yeah, the thin canvas the thin cotton's almost worthless though.
Right, and
'Cause it's
expensive.
not sturdy. Yeah, it's almost as expensive as canvas and it's not gonna be very sturdy. I don't know.
Okay, I'm just putting out my,
Yeah.
this
Well,
is
and that's
why,
something to bring up. I mean, because I don't know if I really. It's also hard to. I mean, I'm good with saying we want all these things, but having somebody amend at that meeting, they don't like the fact that it's plastic or nylon bags. That's. I mean, I don't know. Because if it's all together, are we gonna lose out on the other things?
No,
if
well,
somebody
I
doesn't
don't-
like the.
well, you're asking for extra money, so I'm just saying, I'm putting in my 2 cents worth,
Okay.
I'm not trying to deny
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
the money,
Yeah,
but.
you can't, because Sarah and I are gonna both vote yes. Yeah. So, but yes, but I understand what you're saying.
Actually, actually, don't think that, because quorum is 3 of 5, so I do have to vote with you, but I am voting with you.
Okay. Well,
mean,
I will,
we need 3
we will
votes.
look into
We can talk about
some
it at the
other
I appreciate it.
material for
Yeah.
the bags, or eliminate the bags if we feel that they.
Or, keep in mind, we still have the paper bags, so if we have another environmental committee event, we can still bring out the paper bags. We don't have to throw them away. We have.
Oh, you're
boxes of it.
concerned when you do an environmental event that they're,
Or we have a table and the environmental committees staffing it like we did at Ciclavia. So we use paper there. I mean,
Okay.
that's it. I mean,
okay, Laura,
we
yes.
still have those bags. We're not throwing them away.
It's a conversation we can have
Okay,
on
great.
that Thursday. Okay.
So,
Yeah,
All right.
okay,
we need to take a vote or what?
yes.
Yeah.
but
Who's
we're all-
up? Yeah. Who?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ed.
okay.
All right.
Pleasure.
So this last agenda is really important. No, stay, Ed.
Oh.
You can't, you just to listen in.
So we are.
because
We're gonna be
this-
done at 8 though.
So
Yeah.
we have to be done at 20
Yeah.
minutes to go.
Okay. If I could just go through the other little things really quick, Laura. The bylaws, yes, we need
Yes.
to do something, but I don't know what
Well-
we're gonna do.
I've already forgotten, that's it, we have something that's important.
I don't
It
remember.
was a,
No.
no.
There are some amendments that we have to make
And if
to
we, and if,
the quorum thing, the 16, 2/3 vote. We said we wanted to change, I know
well,
you-
that wasn't it, it was
that
the,
was it for me.
that was it for you, but there was another important thing, another definition of something, I'm so sorry.
Okay, that's fine, but let's
we need
put
to do-
this on executive next month. Oh.
We need to put it on governing board, we don't need to do it tonight, there's multiple ways to get it onto governing board. So let's just move to have bylaws amendment on governing board.
Or have the
Because-
establishment of an ad hoc to review, because we cannot
Correct.
review all of these bylaws during a governing board meeting.
No, we
Okay,
can't.
so I'd like to make a motion that we bring forth to the governing board,
The
the
appoint-
establishment of a ad hoc committee.
bylaws committee.
Yes,
Correct. And then just so you're clear, we will, unless we do a special meeting in March, later in March, we will have to have approved.
I know, because it's due in April.
April 1.
Okay, can we take a vote?
Who seconded that?
I'll second.
Yeah, I'll vote on that.
Okay,
Okay. And then,
and then, I don't know the agendas. Okay, so,
um,
Okay.
well, agenda items for next governing, I know we're out of order. The main thing about the governing board meeting is when should it be? I mean, let's just hear in the room, who's available on January 4th versus any other
I
later in
can
the
do
month.
January 4th.
yeah, I'm available. I mean, I have it on my calendar.
Yeah.
I mean, so to me, whatever.
Okay, so I'll
But
tell
we need to
Paula
do-
they have at least 4, but she needs to do a quorum check and she needs to do it now.
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's all I have. And we can
Sure.
give you agenda items if we
Yeah.
think of any. Okay, so.
And then, but Sarah, I know, we're trying to get out, but
That's all right. What?
on the officers need to approve agenda items. They either need to approve it in this room, or they need to approve it when we send out the draft agenda.
I'm the
And
only
at the
one
moment,
approving
only Teresa is looking at the draft agenda, so. as
Yeah.
they
No,
go-
I look at. I didn't know
Yeah,
I
and we
needed to say
need,
something.
technically, we should have,
Okay.
I approve,
Yeah, or at least a couple of people, or at least.
someone beyond Laura.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Paula creates a draft and then even she doesn't respond. And she's like, hey, can you finish it? Like, oh, okay. And then I finish it and then she never even reads it
Okay,
again.
so-
Yeah, if you even just put it in the subject, like, please.
Please
read for
approve.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I think that's what Greg did, and that's how I would know, like, what I'm supposed to,
okay.
because otherwise I don't know I'm supposed to respond to
Well,
something
especially
beyond
this
reading.
time when we aren't even talking about the agenda
Sure,
items.
okay.
So you want to go back to SB
Yes.
411?
Yes, so at the last meeting,
Yeah,
Alfonso, what I heard him say is that the
Yeah.
issuance from Dunn is that we can vote, once we get to 16 people, and hopefully.
We should be for January.
Hopefully Chris will be
Well, we
there
have
to-
2 new people who are getting
Oh.
trained, so we should be good.
We will meet the 2/3 requirement, but our only options are for in-person or Zoom. We will no longer have an option for hybrid.
Well, I think we'd have the option for hybrid the way we're doing
The way
it.
we're currently doing it.
Is that what
Which
you
is that
said?
nobody,
No, but.
and what we currently do means nobody can vote on Zoom. And the
And what
issue
we-
is, we were wanting people to be able to vote.
On
on
Zoom,
Zoom.
which the law would allow. So this is where I would be defiant, unlike the other thing. It's like, we follow the law. If the law says this, my opinion. If the law says we can do it, then we can do it.
And why is Dunn removing that
I
option?
have no idea. I heard the same thing you heard. And are they really, or did he just misunderstand something? He's a young guy who's.
I don't know. I mean, did you follow up with him, Laura? Because this is on the agenda, so I assume
I put
got
it on the
clarification.
agenda because I thought
Okay.
we needed it.
I'm gonna follow up with him to find out exactly
What he's citing.
Right,
Ben has a question.
I got a question.
Yeah.
You all talk in acronyms and things that
Oh,
are
okay.
relatively new. And what is done? Or who is done?
Dunn is the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. That is the organization that issues the Cornerstone platform to take the training. They are the overseeing body of all the neighborhood councils. And Alfonso, the young man who comes, he's our neighborhood empowerment advocate who works for Dunn.
We're done.
Right.
But he's new and young.
Yeah, okay,
That's,
all right, I just, like I said,
that's
I just wanted to get,
microaggression.
No, he's new and young. He doesn't know, I mean, he's not a senior. He's relatively new to the
I'm
department.
just saying, wouldn't you, whatever because what we're talking about was a state
Correct.
law. I mean, state law trumps city, and I mean.
But as with all laws, somebody has to interpret it, and if they disagree on the interpretation, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the problem.
And we
They
don't
disagree
know if
on
this is
interpretation.
triggered by the city attorney, if it's triggered by he didn't understand something. If Bonk has voted, we don't know anything.
Okay.
Got it.
So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that we want to move forward with some, if I understand correctly, with some kind of hybrid following the state law, which would allow
Some
board
board
members to
members.
vote via Zoom. If we do that,
Well, and to count for
And for
quorum,
and to count for
Yeah.
quorum,
because
and
that's kind of big.
That's sort of what we're.
I don't really care if they can vote as long, well, I do, but
Yeah.
I'm
If
more.
they count for a quorum, they should vote.
Yes.
They should be able to.
Yeah.
Right, but I want
Yes, the quorum is more of an
the
issue.
quorum because we can't even conduct the meeting.
Yeah.
okay.
You know,
okay.
if it means, but the state law seems
Okay.
to say they can
Mm-hmm.
vote as long as they're in Los Angeles County.
Right, and I know you have an issue with that, but I
don't.
think it's gonna be hard for one of us to keep track of if someone's in town. If I say I can't make a meeting, is someone gonna say, oh, she went to New York this weekend?
No, but,
Or
well,
that's why
we're not
I'm
gonna
just
know,
thinking
people would have to be honest.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I don't even think I
And
wanna ask.
that may be where the city just decided that's a bridge too far, we don't wanna deal with it. But that's really short-sighted
Well, we have
for
to
such
say,
a transitory, I mean, everybody likes to travel and it really hampers us.
The other issue they had with board members participating via Zoom is if there was someone influential in the room, someone trying to influence them in the room. A
Hmm.
developer was sitting, let's just say,
right there.
Good point.
yeah, so they're talking to
Well, were you at a meeting? where-
Anderson.
Yeah, were you
And-
at a meeting where somebody said that? Or you think?
No, I heard that argument somewhere.
But it's a good argument.
Interesting.
That
Well, you're supposed to, I mean,
you're supposed to remain on camera,
and say who's in the room with you.
right, but
Well, I mean, no, that's in the law.
Yeah,
The law says you're supposed
I know.
to.
Yes, but.
Well, dishonest people are gonna be dishonest.
And not even, it doesn't even have to be a matter of dishonesty. How often did we, if we were, handling a meeting, did we go, oh, who's in the room? I mean, I'm just saying.
Well,
it
it's
just-
not-
It just doesn't get done.
No, it's not just that though. I mean, in other words, have we ever asked anybody, were you at dinner with the developer right before you attended this meeting?
I
No.
will say that other neighborhood councils, in particular Central Alameda, a couple of neighborhood councils in Central Alameda, and this is probably where I heard them, have issues with developers helping certain people get elected and influencing them.
You know, you're right. That's
Um,
probably where you heard it, because
yeah.
Central Alameda's got some,
Yes, and I think right
issues.
now they were,
Yeah.
I mean, they're trying to rebuild their board, but there are people who were removed from that board because of things like that. So I don't know. So let's just assume that we can move forward with that and we're gonna do our hybrid thing,
well,
voting.
we should go.
In quorum, yes, we can. I'm just having a discussion here. The question then becomes, what are we gonna do with Gramercy? Do we need to continue to have meetings there, or can we have all of our governing board meetings here?
And my opinion is that we need to continue at Gramercy because we need to have a space where if we have an issue where 35 people, members of the public, show up, which they used to, there's a place for them to show up.
And why-
This room is crowded.
Right, and why, if we think that we're gonna have an issue like that, why can we not schedule that meeting at the Gramercy Apartments?
Well, which is to say, our motion doesn't have to state where we're meeting, number one. I mean, the motion we send to the city does not have to state the meeting room. But I have a strong opinion that we should continue to have a welcoming, larger space and hope that people start coming.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if we
Well,
if we
that's
start
good.
meeting somewhere small, we also will turn away even some of the governing board
Right.
from wanting to show up.
And I
I mean,
wanna say
tonight's
that
kinda
also,
crowded
governing
because
board,
we need-
I mean, when we were on Zoom, we had many more community members participating than we do now.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But the looking at the past does not predict the future. I'm just saying it's a welcoming space.
Is there any way we can host all our meetings there?
No,
Okay, because if not, then we
Then
have to
we have
figure out what to do with this technology.
I understand that.
And that means also the technology will have to be stored there if we get a duplicate setup.
Right,
And someone else will have to start,
yes.
doing
Yeah.
that. I mean, you're saying yes, Laura, we're making a determination to take a system, $800, $900, instead of using that for an MPG. To have duplicate.
Yeah, but this isn't I agree. Well, the computer would have to move from place to place either way. But this system isn't ours, but the TV's ours, but that belongs to West Adams Avenue.
Yes, but what
Yeah.
happened,
No, we have not purchased it. But that's not, to me, I want to get past the who has to carry this stuff around because you should not have to. I agree with that, and I can't be the person carrying it around all the time either. Should we buy a system? It's not like we're broke, but I am looking at it just what is best for the community.
and
Yeah,
what
what's
is the
best-
best thing for the community is to give them an opportunity to participate in meetings. And one way that does work is by allowing them to participate on Zoom.
Yes, well, we're going to do that. It sounds like what we're planning is to continue hybrid. We're going to vote to allow board members to attend via hybrid. I'm not even sure if we're going to vote to allow board officers, frankly. I think we have to have officers in person anyway to run the systems, regardless of if we buy a new system, we have to move this back and forth. If we're here or if we're there, it doesn't matter. I think officers probably will have to, by and large, be present. I think, just because how do we run the meetings otherwise? Well, you're
I don't
saying
know.
like this, but
Well, I'm just saying that
but I think those are things.
Sarah, what do you think?
I just feel like until we get clarity from what exactly the city is going to require or actually have a stance about. Have we heard this same take from anyone besides Alfonso?
At the
See,
one
that's
meeting
where
off
I
the top
think-
of his head, that's what
Yeah,
I
I
said.
feel like we need to really inquire further. I just don't want to spend a lot of time thinking about it if it was just him misspeaking.
Right.
Um,
So for the board meeting, I think the motion is essentially, if we finally have the 16 people, that we want to adopt the Zoom/hybrid option where our board members can choose individually each time to meet in person or on Zoom. That would be our motion. Right? We don't want to be 100% Zoom and we don't want to be 100% in person. And hopefully we'll know by then if he was misspeaking or if we do have to go rogue and cite the state law and get a letter from Antonio to whatever his name is, and et cetera. The intent of the law was to allow that.
Yeah, that was my understanding too, but.
Yes.
I got a question. On the Zoom thing, were there any stipulations as to like the environment for that person?
Yeah, they have to be on camera.
Okay, on camera.
Meaning their face, not their portrait, and not a blank screen. They have to be live on camera. That's the law says that.
Okay, so that's all. And so that was a valid point. You know, other people in the room and all that. To me, that's a valid point. If they got, you know, somebody
Whispering in your ear.
Whispering from
pulling the
across the
puppet
room.
strings,
Yeah.
you know, that's a valid point. So
Well, and
I think I'd like to also hear, I don't know if you made a motion or not, or I would like to
She
hear.
did, we need a second actually.
Okay.
I'll second it, just so you discuss.
I was stating the motion that should be at the board, but that's okay.
Yeah, but we're gonna recommend.
Okay.
Because I think that there may be more board members who only want to do Zoom.
Well, we can
Um,
have a raise of hands.
Yeah, or I think we need to make sure we have a greater discussion on all of the different
Right,
things.
but
And
what I'm saying is, really, it's simple. We need to get a resolution done and completed and in. Then the details, who's gonna come, who's not gonna come, can be a special meeting for that matter. I mean, just a ad hoc meeting. But I mean, in other words, our motion doesn't have to say, so-and-so will always be on Zoom because they never want to come to an in-person meeting.
No, I mean, that can be an option.
Yeah.
And if we're going to allow, if we're gonna
And they have
force
to
board
come,
members, board officers to be in person,
if that,
that has to, well, you just said that.
I did, I
Okay, so
kind
Yeah,
of,
but that's her
Should be in the
personal
bylaws.
take, so we'll
I'm
see.
thinking we
Yeah.
might need to.
We'll see.
I don't know.
I don't know,
I
I
mean,
think
because
we
the
might
more I
need
think
to.
about it, really, do I want to, I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. Sometimes I wouldn't mind just being
Right,
on
well,
Zoom.
the other thing that the law says is, and everybody has to be in person at least once, but does it say at the same time? I don't even know, that's another thing to read. I mean, in other words, you have to have one fully in-person meeting a year, or does every board member individually have to be in person at least once a year?
I will
know.
just say that Zoom was convenient in some ways for the time we had, but I really appreciate the time limit that having a set location gives us,
Right,
because we had long
Yes,
meetings
we
when we were
did.
on Zoom.
yes, we did,
I still kind of have nightmares about that.
well,
11 o'clock.
And I wasn't even the secretary back then.
Oh, it was
I will not be your secretary if we have a quorum.
11 o'clock, everybody was like, we were losing quorum, people, it was
Oh, yeah.
so bad, oh
Yeah.
my God.
See?
Yes.
Well, that makes
If we're in
sense.
person, it's like bam, 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 let's get it done.
Yeah.
And I think because we don't have the delay in people talking, it just goes more quickly.
And I happen to like being in person because I think it builds camaraderie.
Yeah.
And I think there's
yeah,
a lot of
I think you
benefits.
change your mind every couple of weeks going back and forth. You like
No, I
the
mean-
Zoom? No,
I think I like the
I think-
option, I don't know.
I think the
but-
Zoom option is really, in my opinion, should be if you can't make it to the meeting.
Right.
Mhm.
You know, I think that should be an option
Yeah.
that you could participate because you had something that
Yeah,
didn't
your
allow
kid is
you-
sick,
Yeah,
or this
yeah,
thing or
yeah.
that.
I don't think that should be like the go-to, representation at the meeting. And I think that if you open it up to being you can do everything you need to do on Zoom, then you won't have, like you said, you won't have meetings and you'll have these long meetings. So I think that you need to have it as as an option in emergency or due to circumstances, that type of situation, rather than,
Right.
yeah.
Well, what will inevitably happen is that someone will continue to use it, and then we're going to come up with a policy, and then somebody's going to have to keep track.
But
Well,
that's
last
simple.
month,
But that's, I don't know, but I think that's simpler or maybe you just stipulate, like you're saying, if you don't know about it, just stipulate that, you can only do 3 consecutive Zooms or 5, whatever.
So again, I
you
think the law has something in it that says,
Who's got the law?
the state law, the one they passed.
But I'm saying, do we,
I have a copy.
who amongst us
I
have
do.
read
It's
and
very long.
interpreted the law?
I
And the city
read,
council passed more or less the
right,
same.
but I downloaded and it was in one of our agenda packets, the whole darn thing. I don't know how many months ago, but I put it up in an agenda packet.
So do we want to make the recommendation
Yeah.
that you
Yeah,
moved?
which was what?
Okay,
I've forgotten.
I'll read it. Laura moved to recommend that the governing board adopt the Zoom hybrid option where board members can choose whether to attend in person or on Zoom, and will count towards quorum. And Sarah seconded.
And let's just see if that works. But we'll need to reread.
Are you in? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if not, then the motion won't pass, so.
Right.
Um,
Right.
All right.
And when
But you see, I like the collaborative, convivial, we're here together and
it's
that's
8
it.
o'clock.
Are you adjourning?
I think unless there's any old business, we can't adjourn this meeting.
All right.
I got it, Laura, I'll just do that.
All right, ladies.